G'day guys, it's Travie from Racing for James. Welcome back to a bit of a different video today. We are going to be tackling the good old iRacing camera and force feedback settings videos. Guys, something a little bit different here. Now, I know a lot of content creators do this sort of stuff, but I've got a bit of a different take on my understanding of the camera settings within iRacing and also how that affects the force feedback settings. So, strap yourselves in. Let's take a look at what we've got.
That's right.
So, why the different philosophy on camera settings, and why do I believe force feedback and camera settings are directly related to each other? Well, I have an interesting philosophy on this, and I want you guys to stick with me while we go through it. On screen, we've got the Racing for James and Leukodystrophy Australia BMW M4 GT4, but the person we're looking at, guys, is this guy in the cockpit, right? So he's sitting in the car, and obviously we are trying to mimic what we're seeing on the screen. Now, I recently approached iRacing with regards to a question about steering wheels and steering wheel sizes, because I noticed obviously if you're driving different cars, different steering wheel sizes affect how the cars handle. Now, where is this going, you wonder? Well, where it's going effectively is back to the very, very raw data in iRacing, the laser scan. So these cars and all the tracks and everything is laser scanned, and then all the data around the game is built around where everything's scanned in the car. So the car has a 330mm diameter wheel. It's going to handle at its optimum with a 330mm wheel in your hands as well, because it's expecting that input from you in the car. Now, how does this relate to camera settings? Well, this guy here that we're looking at in the side of the car is also laser scanned into the car. So it got me thinking, if the steering wheel is the correct size and the car handles better with the steering wheel the correct size, what happens if your camera settings are the same as the laser scan camera settings? See where I'm going with this? So what we typically do, whether you're racing on a single screen or a triple screen, it doesn't really matter. Normally, what we'll do is we'll get into the car, we'll jump into the cockpit, we'll hit Control F12, and we'll adjust the offset back and forward and find a position where we can see the dash on the car and get all the information we need, irrespective of where everything's going. But what happens to this, guys? Well, when we adjust the camera settings, so let's say we like to be able to see out the front windscreen of this car a little bit more, hey? Let's say we like to see. Now, effectively, what we've just done is we've moved the camera forward. So we've got a better view out of the front windscreen, right? I think so as well. It looks heaps good, doesn't it? But we go back to this position here, and our driver hasn't moved. Now, what I noticed when I was doing testing on this is that I would generally move the seat back until the corners of the seats would come up on my triple screens. So I used to do something along the lines of this, where we'd bring them back, and you'd be able to see this over my shoulder here. We'd bring them back. There's the bolster on the headrest, and I'd adjust the seats until about there. So you can just see it on the corner of my screen, and that's where I am, about 0.05 back. That's what it was on every single car. Now, what I noticed is I was struggling to drive the car. I had understeer, I had issues, I couldn't figure it out. And I had to play with these settings, right? And I've gone, I just wonder what happens if we leave this as 0. 0 is the baseline, guys. This is where this guy is sitting on the screen in the car, exactly where he's laser scanned, exactly where he's meant to be. So all of the input data in iRacing is based around that position. So effectively, much like iRacing said, you can control the steering wheel size. You can run a 330mm wheel, you can run a 300mm wheel. It will change how the car behaves based on what you input. So if we're moving the cockpit camera back and forward, we bring this back up again. If we bring the camera back, every time we turn the steering wheel, The wheels on the car, uh, whatever this calculation is, I don't understand what this calculation is. Whether it's 8 centimeters, 10 centimeters, I don't know. Whatever it ends up being, those wheels on the car are now that much further away. So every time you turn the steering wheel, they're going to be turning at a different relative distance to what your brain thinks they're going to be turning at. Does that make sense? So, how does that relate to force feedback? But effectively, we're now 5 clicks back from inside the driver's eyes who's laser scanned in the car. So every time I turn left and my front left wheel hits the curb, that's now hitting the curb faster than I think it is, because that wheel is actually further away than I think it is. So the force feedback is going to be happening before your brain thinks it's going to be happening. So that's going to create a different sensation in the force feedback that you're expecting to feel through the wheel. Much like if you go forward. So you bring the camera forward, you want to see out the windscreen a bit better, you want to get rid of these stupid pillars that are in the way. You bring the field of view, not the field of view, the camera settings forward. You've got a really good view out of the window here. But now the front wheels on the car are way closer to where you are sitting in the car. So every time I turn the steering wheel now, the car's going to turn faster than I think it's going to turn because the wheels are closer to me. But also, the force feedback is going to happen much sooner than I think it's going. Much later than I think it's going to happen because the wheels are now closer to me. I think they're meant to be in this position, so my brain is naturally going, okay, the wheels are going to hit the curb there, and the force feedback intensity and vibrations will all be completely different. So, what do I do to set the camera settings now? How do I do it? How do I make sure that I'm staying where the driver is laser scanned into the car to give me those details? Well, we jump into the car, we have a look on our black box. Now, these black box settings are global settings, so these here stay no matter what. Now I sit 61 centimeters from my screen. I've got triple screens. They are at a driving field of view of 164 degrees. So to adjust that, measure between your eyes and the screen. That gets your field of view, your distance to the screen. So if I adjust the field of view now, you can see the whole car changes, everything changes, right? Because we're looking through the driver's eyes for where we're meant to see the car on track. But what you'll notice on here is the shift horizon. So the horizon is your eye line to the screen. Now, ideally, your eye line wants to be center with the screen. It wants to be bang on the middle of the screen, wherever that ends up being. So get yourself in your driving position, line your screen up, and then you can adjust the horizon to where that's meant to be. Now, my screens sit a little bit lower, which allows me to see all of the dash. So the horizon is actually a fair bit high up on the screen. I'm at 14 clicks, and that's directly in front of my eyeballs. Directly in front. And you have a play. Now, if you're on triple screens, a very, very good way to test triple screen, the horizon, is to drive up against a fence or anything along those lines, whatever you've got. Now, if you're on triple screens and the horizon is correct, the fence lines will line up perfectly. It's another interesting take. Now, I'll go and chat to that for a second as well. Now, a lot of the time, we're taught to adjust the Orient P and all of that sort of stuff. Orient P or Vanish Y. So you'll adjust one of those and then you halve the number and you divide it by 3 or whatever it ends up being, and that will change the tilt of the screen. Now that is what I used to run along with the camera settings clicked back as well. But now I leave them all on 0. So we're back in the car. Now, as I said, what I do is I adjust the horizon to where it's bang on in my middle screen. From there, if you adjust the horizon between a couple of clicks either way, it will actually correct the fence lines around the track like you used to do with the Orient P and Vanish Y. Effectively, moving the horizon will change the view of your triple screens and it will level out the fences around the track. That's a global setting. you don't have to adjust that per car anymore like you used to do with Control F12. From there, the driver height will always be 0, right? When you first jump in, your horizon's going to be 0, and your driver height's going to be 0, right? Bang on, horizon's the middle of the screen. No issues at all. So what I do is I pick a reference point. So down the bottom of the screen here, we've got the dash. We can see where the dash meets the bottom of the screen. We can see just the top of two little bolts on the bottom of the screen there. So we've got those locked in as a reference point. We set our horizon. So I know I'm at 14 because I know where that is. From there, all we need to do is remember our reference point. So our reference point was the two little screws at the bottom of the screen. These two down here, 1, 2. And we know that they sit at the bottom of the screen, right there. We are now exactly back in the same position as our laser scanned friend. Exactly where we were. Scanned into the car like we're supposed to be there. That's us. Now our eye line is exactly through the same helmet position as it was when we first jumped in the car. So now when I go out, I'm in the cockpit. Doesn't matter what car I jump in, we get rid of the screen. It looks exactly the same as I'm laser scanned in the car. So every time I turn the steering wheel now, the front wheels of the car are at the correct distance for what the game is interpreting it to be. Because remember, we're going by coding of what the game developers put into the game. So they're saying that the game works best from this position. See what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Does it improve your turn-in? Does it improve your consistent braking points as well? I mean, you'll still learn and adapt to the force feedback and the settings that you have, of course, because it's all muscle memory. However, are you having issues with force feedback details? Because I absolutely noticed once I got the camera settings right, for what I believe is right, my force feedback improved unbelievably. Like the curb strikes happened exactly when my eyes were seeing that they were going to happen on the screen. And that was one of the biggest takeouts for me. I also noticed that my corner speed improved because the understeer decreased because, again, my turning points and the way the car was turning into the corner was being perceived exactly where my eyes were seeing it relative to the game data receiving it. So it's a lot of information to take in. Let me know. Have a try. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and maybe it'll improve your lap times. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll improve your force feedback, and you'll get a better feel from the game that way. But it's something a little bit different, guys. Like I said, a different tutorial on this sort of stuff. And there are plenty of ways to skin a cat. So do appreciate you guys tuning in, and let us know in the comments below what you think. Cheers, everyone. Have a good night. Have a good day wherever you are. Thanks. You finished pressing all the buttons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.